Okay, next, look at this method of our queue data structure. Okay, same goes to the other data structure. Each data structure has their own methods. Let's say if we are talking about array list, we have the list of methods that we use to implement array list data structure. Same goes for linked list. So we have a few of data structure to represent, a few of methods to represent linked list data structure. Okay, so here we have queue data structure. So of course we have the different method to represent this data structure queue. Okay, here are a few of methods that we are going to use for queue data structure. So we have this primary method and also the rest of the methods. Okay, for our primary method for queue data structure, the first one we have Enqueue. Okay, Enqueue means that we add new element to the end of queue. Okay, so kalau dia tak bagi tahu to the end of queue, once we are talking about queue data structure, every time we add a new data in the queue, so we need to add it at the end of our queue. Mesti, wajib, itu dia punya requirement. So we need to add the data at the end of queue once we are talking about enqueue. Okay, next we have dequeue. Dequeue means that kita nak delete, okay, remove element from front of the queue. Macam nak beratur tadi, siapa, kalau beratur ambil duit, siapa yang akan pergi, the first person that can go and withdraw the money, of course the first person in the queue, right? So means that yang paling depan sekali lah. Okay, so dia yang akan pergi ambil duit and tinggalkan that queue. Okay, so kat sini means that dequeue lah, we are going to use dequeue method to remove element from front of the queue. If it doesn't stated that remove from front of the queue, tapi bila dah sebut dequeue, wajib lah dia memang kena remove from front. Kalau dia just sebut remove, kita dah tahu dah, of course dia remove from front. Okay, next we have is empty. Is empty kita dah pernah jumpa sebelum ni. Before we need to do any process towards our data inside our list or our queue, okay, we need to check either our list, our queue is ada data ke tak. So we gonna use is empty, check whether the queue is empty or not. Okay, the rest of the methods are, the first one is get front and get end. So get front, get element from front of the queue, and get end tu get element. Okay, get front, get element from front of the queue, dia akan return value element or data ataupun data pertama di dalam queue. So get end means that get element to the end of queue, so dia akan return value data yang last kali di dalam queue. Okay. Okay, this one dia punya operation, how we can do this. Okay. Okay, so kita tengok contoh. Okay. Let's say we have this queue. This is rumah kita. We are using queue data structure to create this rumah. Nama rumah ni adalah queue, my queue. Okay, nama rumah ni my queue. So means that if we are using queue data structure to create this my queue, it means that anything that related to my queue mesti menggunakan method provided by queue data structure. Okay, sebab kita create rumah ni menggunakan queue punya data structure. So lepas tu anything yang relate dengan this my queue ni, so we need to use method by queue data structure. Okay, let's say we have a few. Okay, I've mentioned just now we implemented linked list data structure for this queue. So bila kita implement menggunakan linked list, so we are using node. So kena ingat kita guna node. Okay, in reality boleh juga kita nak guna array list. We want to implement it using array list pun boleh juga. But in our class, in our subject, we're gonna implement a linked list data structure to represent queue data structure. Okay, so bila kita implement menggunakan array list, so we know that array list represented using node, right? So we have a few node here. Okay. Okay. So this one is first, this one is last. Okay. So kita tengok the first method towards this queue data structure is Enqueue, okay? So Enqueue means that you want to insert data into my queue ataupun ke dalam rumah yang menggunakan queue data structure kan? Okay. Let's say I want to have another node. Okay, this one is our new node lah. Okay. So bila new node ni, okay, because kita ada data in this node, we have data inside this, then we want to insert this inside this kan. So seperti linked list, the implementation of this is same goes like linked list lah. The node can be inserted anywhere. So let's say this one I want to put this here. This one I put it here. So it can be located anywhere. But if we are using queue, okay, so kita kena gunakan Enqueue tadi kan. Okay, bila kita guna Enqueue, kita tahu Enqueue menggunakan konsep queue tadi. Okay, every time you masuk data baru, you can just imagine kalau you beratur, boleh tak you beratur, you nak pergi terus duduk depan. Ada 10 orang, you nak pergi duduk yang first kali kat depan. Okay, of course tak boleh kan. So bila you beratur, it means that you kena pergi duduk belakang sekali. So means that you akan jadi yang belakang sekali, yang last kan. Okay, so you can just imagine you tu adalah data. So of course dia akan jadi duduk belakang. Okay, bila kita nak implement menggunakan method provided by linked list, okay, kita kan default method provided by linked list data structure kita ada insert at front, insert at back, remove from front, remove from back and a few more, right? Okay, so bila kita nak represent, bila you masuk data ke dalam you punya rumah tu, dia jadi duduk belakang sekali, of course kita boleh implement insert at back. Okay, tak perlu you nak define satu-satu lagi. Okay, kalau you nak define juga boleh, you can just go to insert at back punya method dalam previous chapter linked list tu, ambil how you define for that method and you can just put it here. Because we are using the same way to represent, once you insert that data baru tu akan duduk kat belakang sekali. So in this case, kita boleh guna, kita panggil balik method insert back. Okay, but what we need to do is, dekat class queue ni, okay, public class queue you kena extend lah. Okay, extend, ingat tak yang you belajar last semester? Extend means that you can inherit, right? Inheritance. Okay, bila ada extend means that you can inherit method from the other class. So this one, you extend from linked list punya class. The most important thing is once you want to run it, you need to create the linked list first lah. Tapi kalau class link list tu tak ada, memang tak jadilah. Okay, you need to create that linked list first. Kalau ada class linked list, of course you need to have class node kan. Okay, so you ada class node, class linked list, then you create another new class, class queue. And then in this class queue, we have this Enqueue, public void Enqueue. So dia punya parameter, of course you want to insert data. So this one is you punya object that you want to insert. Okay, you can give any name. Okay, then kita put inherit method insert at back. Okay, so this one insert at back, this last ni dia tak akan jadi last dah lah. So bila you insert, this one going to be your last, this one will be pointed to, nah ini dah tak jadi last, this one akan jadi last. Okay, insert back. Okay. Okay, next we have DQ. Okay, DQ means that nak remove kan. Okay, just imagine bila you beratur, siapa yang akan pergi ambil duit dulu and leave the queue? Of course yang duduk depan sekali. The most front person in the queue will go withdraw the money and leave the queue, right? So in this case, among all of these, apa yang kita akan remove dulu? Okay, so dia akan ambil yang depan sekali lah. So dia akan remove yang ni. Okay, so bila remove yang ni, this going to be our first. This one no more as our first. This one going to be as our first. Yang belakang ni still sama lah. So nak remove yang depan sekali, you also can inherit from linked list punya method, which is we have remove from front. It means that you do not need to define it one by one. But if you still want to define it, it doesn't matter. You can just define sebiji sama macam remove from front masa dekat kelas linked list lah. Okay, since you dah memang already define it dekat kelas linked list, why not you just call the method? But the most important thing is you need to have this extend lah. Okay, boleh? Okay, kita have remove from front. Okay, the next we have get, the next method is get front. Get front, I just mentioned, get front is the return the first node in the list. Okay, so they akan return the first node. This is, let's say this is already deleted, right? So we have this as our first node. So to return the value means that we just return the value. The original node still inside. So what we have for get front is we return the value. So dia akan return the value, return value. So in this case kita boleh panggil method get first. Do you still remember what is the function of this get first? Get first is to return the node. To return the data. Okay, the original data is still inside, we just return the value. Okay, especially bila kita nak guna yang ni, especially ni kita akan guna once you want to access that data lah. Let's say you want to print that data, so means that kita kena access. Nak access, kita boleh guna get front lah. Kalau dalam linked list hari tu, so we are using get first. Okay. The next we have get end. Let's say you want to return the value, the last node in the list. Okay, this one is the last node. Just now we have this as our last node. Okay, how we can return it? Okay, so what we can do is dia ada a few baris sikit nak compare dengan yang lain. Okay, what we can do is you buat remove sebab dia tak ada dia ada get first, get next. Dekat linked list dia ada get next dia akan return the next node after your current node, bukannya return the last node in the list, right? So this is here you cannot simply use get next for this get end. Get end you want to return the value the last node in the queue. So what we need to do is kita boleh panggil method remove from back. Okay, so remove from back, you assign to this variable berjenis object, and then you return lah object ni. Okay, so in this case, so dia akan return the last node. Okay, this one. Okay, bila you remove, you kena masuk balik lah. Okay, kita remove kat sini just to return the value. Okay, tapi kalau kita insert balik, nanti lepas remove, jadi tak ada lah yang ni. So remove, then you insert it back balik, then you return that value. We just remove it to get the value and we can return it to get this get end lah. Okay, but you need to insert it back supaya dia still ada dalam ni, sebab get end hanya return that value. The original data or node is still inside, okay?